Hello everyone. Let us continue with Java Selenium Module 1. We will continue with control statements and look at while loop. Let us understand the working of while loop. In order to understand how this loop works, let me go to my drawing board. And let us try to understand how this while loop works. Now while is a keyword in Java. In step, this is 1. In step 2, a condition check happens. If a condition is true, as you can see in this flow 3a, it will come inside the loop and execute whatever is inside the loop. After that, the control will go back. As you can see here, the flow is step 6. A condition check is done again. If it is true, it will again come inside. So this while loop will keep getting executed until this condition is true. After the condition become false, or rather when the condition become false, it will go to this 3b and come out of the while loop. Let me try to explain this with an example. For that, I will bring up my Eclipse and we will write a while loop. Okay, so let me create a file. I'll say right click and I'll say new. I'll say class and I'm going to call it as while loop. And I'll select this option to generate main method automatically. I'll say finish. I'll delete this line. I don't need this. Here I will say int I equal to 5. Then I'll say while I is greater than 0. I'll say open bracket and close bracket. Here I'll say systm dot out dot println, and let's say I display value of I here. And after that, I also say minus minus I, where minus minus I is actually equivalent to I equal to I minus 1, right? This we have already covered in unary operators. Now, let me explain this. I will take this code and I'll take it to my drawing board and explain it with the diagram I just showed to you. So let's take it here. Now, if you will see, first of all, let me remove all this and then we will understand how it works. So there is a while here, condition check is done, condition check is done. So initially, if you will see I equals to 5, right? Now, after the condition check is done, is 5 greater than 0? Yes, currently I is 5, so 5 is greater than 0. It will come inside this, it will come inside this, display the value of I to you, and now I will become I equal to I minus 1, so it is going to become 4. Now after that, it will go back again here. As you can see, it will go back here and do the check. Now since I is 4, it will check whether if 4 is greater than 0. Yes, it is. It will again go inside the loop. So this will keep on happening where until I becomes 3, 2, 1, and finally it becomes 0. Now when I is 0, so let me just remove this for you so that you can read this properly. So when I becomes 0, this condition fails and it will not go inside this loop and it will come out of this loop. So this is how the while loop works. So after this, I can display, let me just copy this much. I'll copy this statement and I will say end of while loop. Now let me run this program. I'll say right click. I'll say run as Java application. So as you can see, you will see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So these values are displayed because of this statement at line number 10, which displays the value of I. And when this condition fails, I greater than 0 condition fails, it will come out of the while loop and it will display end of the while loop. So this is how the while loop works in Java. Now, next we shall look at how do while loop works in Java. So for that, I'll again go to my drawing board. And as you can see, step one is doing nothing. There is a do, which is a keyword. It comes inside this block here, which starts with this bracket here and ends with this bracket here. In this step two, it comes inside this block. It performs or executes all the statements that are inside this block. Then there is a while, and then there is a condition check. If condition is true, it will again go inside this loop. So let me explain this with an example to make it clear. So I'll go back to my Eclipse and let's create a file and let's call it do while. So let's say do while this time. I'll select this to generate main method automatically. Now I'm going to delete this line. I don't need this line. Now let's say I have int I equal to 5, for example. Then I'll say do open curly braces, close the curly braces, and then I'll say while a condition will be specified here, while I is greater than 0. Now inside this I'll say system dot out dot println and here I'll display the value of I and I will say minus minus of I. Now minus minus is actually equivalent to I equal to I minus 1, right? Now let me take this code here in my drawing board and then try to explain it with this diagram here. I will delete this for now. So as you can see, there is a do here, then it comes inside this block and execute this. So here it will display I is 5. After that I becomes 4 because this statement equals to I equal to I minus 1. So I becomes 4. So initially if I is 5, now I has become 4. Now condition check will be done. Is 4 greater than 0? Yes. Therefore it will go back again in the do block and again execute this. So this will keep on happening until the value of I becomes 0. So once after 5 it is 4, 3, 2, 1, and when it is 0 is greater than 0, no, it is false. So it will come out of this do while loop. So let me go here and I'll say system dot out dot println. I'll say end of do while loop. And if I run this program, right click, run as Java application, you will see the output as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we see end of while loop, end of do while loop here. Now a very obvious question that will come to your mind is that what is the difference between the while loop and do while loop? So let me put this code next to each other so that you can understand and appreciate the difference. Now, why in the case of while loop, if I make this as 0 here, for example, if I make it 0 and 0 is greater than 0, no, it is false. So it will never come inside and it will display end of while loop. So right click, run as Java application. Here it never went inside the while condition because initially the condition became false and therefore this block was never executed. It directly displays this particular value. Whereas in the case here, if I make this I as 0, what will happen? It will still go inside the do block. Why? Because the condition check is done later. Here first do is executed, then condition check happens. So if I right click and run this program, you will see the value of I being displayed as 0 because of this statement. So the major difference between a while and a do while is that In the case of while loop, if condition is failing, it will never go inside the block because condition check is done at the beginning of the while loop. Whereas in the case of do while loop, it will first go inside do and perform whatever it needs to do, and only after that condition check is done. So even if this is 0, it still goes inside the do block because the check is done later. First the do block is executed. So this is a major difference between a while loop and do while loop. A lot of times if you are a beginner, when you're learning programming or you're learning Selenium automation, this could be an interview question. So please make sure you understand this difference properly. Next, we will look at switch case statement in Java. So this time I'm going to first explain a program and then I'll come back and explain this diagram. So I'll go to my Eclipse here and let's try out a small program for switch case. So what I'm going to do is I will create a file here. I'll say new class and I'll call it as switch case, and I will select this main method. I'll finish here and I have the file ready with me. So I will write a small piece of code here. Now I'll say int num equal to 20. Now here I'll say switch open bracket and close bracket. Inside switch I will give num. I will explain this in some time in more details. Then I'll say case 10 colon. Here I'll say system dot out dot println. Here I'll display the value of num, for example, and I'll say break and end it with semicolon. Similarly, I will copy this and I will make it 20 here, and then I will have one more as 30 here, 30 here, and then eventually our default case. I don't need this now. I will make it default, and I don't need this break also. Now, how does it work? Let's understand this on my drawing board. I'll take this code on my drawing board. Now, what happens in Java? Program execution starts from top to bottom. So it will read this line, it meaning the compiler or the JRE which is running this program will read this. It will read this. Then it tries to match this num with one of this case, whether it is 10, 20, 30. So it matches here. So it will go here, right? Now it will display this, and break statement is required to break it out of this loop. So this is a block, right? This is a block or a piece of code. Break will, after displaying this value using system.out.println, break will break it outside of the loop. If I don't put break here, let's say if this is not there, then it will continue executing next statement until it does not find a break, right? So if I try to explain it with a diagram here, there is an expression which is basically this. A case match happens. So this value matches with one of the case. Let me just remove this for now so that it is easy for us to understand. I will remove this as well. Right now, here if case is matching, it goes to that particular case. So in this case, it went here. Statement is basically this particular statement which is displayed. Now, if you put a break, it will break out of the loop, right? But if you don't put a break, so if this was not there, it would, from this statement, it will go to next statement, right? And this will be treated as next statement, which is not actually doing anything. And then it will go to next statement. And if there is a break, then it will break out of this particular block, which starts from this bracket and ends at this bracket. So this is how basically switch case statement works in Java. If you have any further questions around switch case or while loop or do while loop, you can ask your questions in the comment section and I'll be happy to reply. I hope the concept of control statements is clear to all of you. Thank you so much for your time.